Here we go.
All right. So, in the field of geology, being able to identify common minerals is a very valuable skill. And it's something that you'll use a lot. So, these simple instructions detail how to identify common minerals. And so, there are no specific skills or knowledge needed to be able to do this. So, to begin, you will need a few materials and equipment. So, you'll need a mineral identification kit, which consists of a streak plate, a glass plate, a magnet, a hand lens, a small pocket knife, and a bottle filled with either white vinegar or diluted HCl. You'll also need a notebook or just a pen and paper to keep track of your findings, a Moss hardness scale, and a list of common minerals and their characteristics. So to begin, the first thing you'll need is a rock sample. The first thing we'll check for is its luster. So looking at a rock, if it shines or it sparkles at all, will tell you if it has any luster to it. So looking at this sample, it doesn't seem to shine or sparkle, so it lacks luster. And the next thing we'll check for is the rock's hardness. So if you can scratch the rock with your fingernail and it anything comes off, like if it powders or anything, it has a very it's very soft. So according to the Moss hardness scale, it's a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being talc, graphite is around that also, and then 10 being diamonds. So this is harder than your fingernail, so it's obviously harder than a 1. So the next thing you'll use is the glass plate. So you'll take your rock sample and just trying to push down on the sample and the glass without breaking it, obviously. See if it leaves a scratch at all. So in this case, the rock is too soft to scratch the glass. So next, we'll check its hardness using the pocket knife. So it's easy just to use like a corner if your rock has corners like that, but any way you can to just try and see if it leaves a mark, which in this case it does. So the rock is softer than the glass, but it is harder, or it is soft enough that it can be scratched by steel. So looking at the Moss hardness scale, it looks like it falls right at about a 5.5. So next we will examine the rock's color. It can be multicolored, it doesn't have to just be one solid color. So like this face of the rock is a like tan, almost yellow brown kind of color, and this side is more of a gray color. But sometimes just looking at the rock isn't enough for color. So using your streak plate, just kind of gently, well not really gently, but apply some pressure and scrape the plate with the rock. And so as we see, it leaves about like a gray streak. So now you'll want to get out your hand lens and just kind of look. I mean, sometimes you don't have to use a hand lens for this. You can just kind of look to see. So this rock, it has like several different planes. So to check for, this is called cleavage, which means like the tendency to break along flat parallel surfaces. So you can see that this has kind of a square shape to it. So it breaks on a couple different planes. And if you had a rock hammer, you could hit it and it would probably just shear off like that. So a rock can have excellent cleavage, it can have good cleavage, poor cleavage, and it can even have no cleavage. So like this piece of quartz right here has no cleavage to it. Well, I would say that this has excellent cleavage. So next, you'll want to use your magnet to check to see if the rock shows magnetism. It doesn't seem to. The rock just slides off. This sample right here does have magnetism to it. The magnet sticks to it. So. And then you want to check to see if the sample effervesces at all, which means it fizzes. And if it does fizz, it shows that it has carbonate materials in it, and if it doesn't fizz, then it doesn't. We're using white vinegar because sometimes it can be hard to access hydrochloric acid. So you'll just want to take and just do a couple drops. And it doesn't seem to be fizzing at all. This could also be due to the fact that it is white vinegar and not the hydrochloric acid. This is just so diluted that it may not. So if you can get access to hydrochloric acid, like a very diluted hydrochloric acid, it'd be best for better results. So then, using your attached list of the common minerals and their characteristics, you'll want to go through your list of what you wrote down and figure out your sample. So for this, I figured out that this is most likely a calcite sample. It did not effervesce, but I think it is because we used vinegar and not the hydrochloric acid. There are a couple warnings. So if you do use the hydrochloric acid, even though it's diluted, it can still be dangerous. So if you spill it on yourself, or on another person, you'll want to wash it off immediately. It'd be best to wash or run the affected part of your body under cool water for about 5 minutes. And after that, if it's still painful or red, then it's probably best to contact a medical professional. And if you aren't finding your mineral in this list of common minerals, it probably isn't a very common one. And to find it, you just want to probably Google a couple of the characteristics that you found, and you'll most likely find your sample. And if you're finding that it is showing multiple, your sample could have more than one mineral, or could be like a conglomerate of different rocks. So learning new skills can be very useful, and with the help of these instructions, you're now able to identify common minerals.